Trico's Atomic Robo-Kid on Sega Genesis, based on the UPL arcade game of the same name. So the basic story here is nothing more than just your usual post-apocalyptic future lore, set in the 21st century, for lack of better words, right now. One of our beloved planet's deep space outpost, Terra 12, has been decimated to total shit by a cosmic radiation wave outbreak. What's even worse, most of all transplanted life are undergoing all sorts of fucked up mutations. Emil from RoboCop, or Melvin from Toxic Avenger much? Thanks to ruthless hordes of bioorganic and extraterrestrial life led by alien governors, every other remaining colony of Terrans are now being annihilated, with the exception of a band of Terran colonists, most, if some, who happen to be scientists and engineers, who finally devised a way to put an end to all this bullfuck. Namely, yep, you guessed it, the title character. Yawn, right? Upon starting this run-and-gun slash shmup hybrid, you're thrown headlong right into the battle with our main mini-mech, who puts even the likes of Brownie from Contra Hardcore and old R2 to absolute shame, blasting away at various mutated life and progressing from one stage to the next. Get hit once by anything, even projectiles, hell yes, except for the weird gelatinous life forms. Your ass is as good as scrap metal. The A button fires your weapon, B allows the Robo-Kid to jump, and at times force himself into hovering, which can effortlessly be pulled off at will, as well as swaps out your choices of weapons if you've picked any up. And the C button doesn't do a Christ damn thing. Jack fucking shit. And speaking of weapons, there's a multitude, if not as much as we'd expect, of them. These include your second level Fire Blaster Beam, both a 3-way laser and 5-way parallel spread shot, and even a powerful as balls nuclear missile. Die a single time, and you lose one of them in the process. Your power-up enhancements include a speed-up capsule, which you can increase by obtaining up to 4 times, a shield capsule similar to Sonic, which was out not long after this game, obviously, which you can obtain 3 times, and is good for that many hits. Consider yourself in deep shit without them. And even a rapid-fire capsule, which spices up your firepower, no matter which weapon you've got equipped on you. Again, these can be lost instantaneously if you die. You can even obtain these same enhancements upon meeting the Merchant, which is like the bastard child of Mechagodzilla and Bubber Bob from the Bubble Bobble series, complete with their respective underlying visual representations, similar to Sega's Fantasy Zone games. Unlike most shmups where you're traveling in a fixed direction, think of Gradius, R-Type, Thunder Force, or hell, even the aforementioned Fantasy Zone, where you can change Opa Opa's direction at will, Atomic Robo-Kid has you guiding him by traveling and hovering around wherever you desire. And after killing off as many creatures as possible, you get to pick one at the beginning, but later on many branching paths leading to his ultimate destiny, kind of like in Castlevania 3, which was out at the same time, as well as the Darius series by Taito, and even Contra Hardcore. After treading through each series of stages, you face off against an alien governor, and each one can be tricky as hell, which will be discussed when I get to the challenge portion, that is, followed by a mini-mech rival duel, with columns of random materials barricading both you and said rival, and even a cutscene involving the Ark accessing as much information as possible on every next enemy he intends to face, that is, up until the very end. Compared to most shmups, action platformers, and or run-and guns I've discussed previously, the degree of challenge here isn't as high as the others, if maybe on the same level. In true Ninja Gaiden and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fashion, every time you wipe out a swarm of enemies in return, that same swarm respawns without any warning. So I'd keep on my guard in every turmoil-inducing situation possible if I were you. Same story with those boss battles. It's like each time you progress, the amount of breathing and migration space depletes very dramatically during these scenes. Depending on which difficulty mode you set at the options screen beforehand, you start off with 7 lives and 6 continues on easy, 5 lives and 4 continues on normal, not to mention 3 lives and 2 continues on hard, respectively. Regardless of either of these 3 difficulty settings, these benefits will be used up quicker than PayPal or hell your own bank's checking and or savings account if you're not on your toes every step of the way. While they're not anything too mind-blowing today, the graphics are actually captivating and enthralling beyond belief. Most of the enemies and artillery that the Robo-Kid faces aren't total pushovers, except maybe in the first 2 stages, and neither are the bosses, despite their relatively slow-moving speed of course. Most might say what they will about the stages, but they're all uniquely designed and expressed in their own enrapturing way, contributing to the game's situation at hand, namely traversing through countless extraterrestrial dimensions. And in case anyone's wondering, this particular part here was designed and developed by the same infamous, mind-warped sons of bitches responsible for both Ghostbusters and Super Pitfall on behalf of Activision. Athena as well as Car Warriors 1 and 2, both SNK Playmore, Twin Cobra, Thundercade, and Tiger Heli, all based on 3-title arcade games, while the former 2 titles were published by Sammy for the US. The latter third choice was published by Acclaim Entertainment. Capcom's 1942, Ghosts and Goblins, Savage Bees aka Exit X's, and Sun, and even Toei's infamous Motomo Abunai Deka, not to mention Riding Trad on behalf of Electrobrain for the SNES, and even Hammer and Harry 2 and Kid Nicky 3, both by Irem for the Famicom, only in Japan. And you wanna know what the name of the company is? That's right, My Chronics. My fucking Chronics. As ever, no understatements intended for the music, but it's average at best. While it's not annoyingly grating, the soundtrack's really nothing to write home about. Then again, on the same token, I also intend to avoid overdrawing the line or overstating the obvious. But some of the tracks are decently composed to fit most of the game's appropriate atmospheres and situations, despite being constant at times. I'll give them that. Anyhow, if I had to pick a personal favorite too, it would definitely have to be the second act, also heard in later stages, including the Terran Jungle no less, as well as the boss theme. However, I'm definitely looking the other way regarding those bland-ass sound effects, on which I highly suggest not getting me started on. Concerning Atomic Robo-Kid's fun factor, due to the nerve-wracking difficulty in terms of which obstacles and enemies to watch out for, as well as the itching desire to avoid getting snuffed, I'd say that the replayability level is moderate enough, even as to force any potential attempt to master this goddamn jarring-ass thriller out of a game. And to quote Fangs Echidna from Shmups.com, it's one of those games you can't get rid of, even if you do get the chance of beating it. Therefore, my final verdict on Atomic Robo-Kid, after careful playtesting and deliberation, I'm still in the midst of a two-way tie over whether or not I should recommend it to anyone whatsoever. Considering most of the goddamn mixed and negative reception it's been getting throughout the decades, and call me crazy or better yet, a sadofucking-masochist, I'm going out on a limb and expressing that Atomic Robo-Kid is really worth scoping out, even for at least 5, if less, test plays. So what the hell are you waiting for? Track it down already! And as ever, until then, this is the Hardcore Retro God signing off. Thanks for watching, and be sure to scope out my next season, which will take effect after Columbus Day.